Reading from Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 2, Chapter 1, Verse 52. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Iti-kartavyatā-mūḍho. dīnaḥ svapnam āgataḥ. Tayā devyā sahāgatya. tatrādiṣṭaḥ śivena. Confused about what he should do, he became depressed. Then another dream, Lord Śiva came to him along with the goddess to instruct him. His heart was drawn to Lord Gopal, but his mind was in a dilemma. Should I take sannyas and strive for liberation, or should I just chant my mantra? Such is the likely result of fellowship with impersonalists. One's determination becomes fickle, and one cannot choose the right thing to do. In his third appearance in the Brahmin's dream, the goddess Kamakya brought along her husband, the Lord of Kashi, to make her presentation more convincing. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Manchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, greetings from a very nice hotel. I don't know, I think a 5-star, it's really a really high-end hotel. In Aero City next to the Delhi airport. I have to go to Nepal for a few days. So that anyway, for visa things, I can come right back in. And just a little travelogue, which I usually do. We just came from Rishikesh. I met this really nice devotee in Govardhan. David, his name is, and very intelligent, very educated, successful in the corporate world, early 40s, very aware, very devotional. Anyway, before this, from the second, third, and fourth, this is the fifth, we went, I guess, 3 days to Rishikesh. They have an MVT there. And he paid for the whole thing, the transportation, the hotel. And it was myself. We had a great crew. Jai Jagannath, Yogamaya, many of you know, Hemalata Radha, and a young man Raj and myself. I mean, I went, there was multi-purpose. I visited my cousin, Maseva Bharati, who's 77, and I don't suppose she has much time, but she's sannyasini, she's pretty detached, but she has to wear a diaper, and, it's not, but she's an Indian citizen, so she doesn't have to worry about that. So I went to see her, and also Dhanurdhara Swami's festival. Unprecedented what Dhanurdhara Swami is doing. What a Vaishnav. How empowered. And I've never seen anything like it. All Westerners, they closed the gate because they can only hold 500 people. And I think Madhava says this is the only kirtan festival he goes to. And he gave some reason. But, I went in there and I saw, Madhava, Gauravani, Sachinandana Swami, the Mauritian brothers that were at my Puri Yatra, others that I haven't heard of. Phenomenal. Well, that's going on. He had ladies donate saris, so he had about 5,000 saris donated, kind of purifying the shopping habits of many pious ladies in the Hare Krishna movement who can donate their extra saris. And all the girls that came in, they get saris. Then Kaustubha, during the day, he's giving classes. It's 40, 50 people, 30, I don't know. Satyananda is giving classes during the day. There's kirtan during the day, but I just went in the evening. Kaustubha is, sitting and doing the question and answers. 25, 30 people just sitting on the edge of their seat. Next to that, he has the girls doing the henna, painting. And then they have these Bhagavad Gita cards that are like tarot cards. I joked, this is like being bogus gurus in the service of Krishna. Because the card, like if the verse illustrates something, it says pretender. So people pick out a verse and they get a verse. It says pretender. You have to watch out, people. And they have 2 devotees there, and there's 25 people online for that. And then Jiva Ji, many of you know, she's doing her bhakti recovery. And a good friend of mine, Kavi Kanapur, is doing astrology. And then they have incredible prasadam. And you feed 500 people, like a first-class feast. So all glories to Dhanurdhara Swami. It's unprecedented. And of course, I saw Shameshri Prem, Gail's daughter, fully absorbed in ecstasy. She says it's like the spiritual world for her. And she's really a preacher in that group, really enthusiastic. And so I went for the 2 evenings, and then we drove back today, and you wish you were fly on the wall in the car with me and Jai talking about subjects. And this guy David's really bright. And we just had a real nice community group. And this David, he put me in this hotel, one of those hotels. Gave me spending money. And then tomorrow, I'll go to Nepal, and he's also arranged a hotel there for me, which seems quite nice. I'll just stay in my room. So, so that's what's happening. And then only by Guru Raja's grace, you could all pray for me that I can return to Govardhan. Niranjan Swami staying in the room which I call the Bhakta Hilton. And I consider that a blessing. Great saint. And then I can't wait to get back and wake up in the morning and chant and get out to that hill and feel the fragrance of devotion that comes over from that hill. So somehow or other, I guess the devotee marchas sparshas the kontya sitoshna sukha dukkha agama payano nityas tamstatit shashva bharata, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course of time is like the changing of the summer and winter season. One should learn to tolerate them. But the weather's pleasant now, so I guess I'll tolerate that and not become attached, because those who are fortunate become unfortunate. Those who are unfortunate become fortunate. Although a devotee is never fortunate or unfortunate, because everything that comes is to bring him closer to Krishna. But it's nice to get a little breathing room and have things smooth. Our time in India with the people coming was unprecedented. Even one day in my room, Mother Narayan, who sometimes attends this, she's a disciple of Kripamoya Prabhu, came with 28 people, fit completely in my room. I don't know how. Raghunath was there, he did kirtan, and of course we gave prasadam, and it's just nice. Bhakta, Govardhan Bhakta Seva Ashram served the Vaishnavas. That's the best way to remove the obstacles in devotional service, is serve the Vaishnavas. That's the story of Raghunath Das Goswami. And I got a great news that the Metro Mantra Sanga at Jai Subhadra's place was wonderful. People doing kirtan and the famous New Jersey Prasad, so that's also great. Guess when I come back, I'll have 3 weeks in Braj, Govardhan. Let's see. So I just got in, actually, just a little while, about 4.5 hours from Rishikesh. And David took me up here because I'm don't even know how to get in a room with these new cards. So as we remember, I don't want to go to the story within the story, the nested narrative, as they say, but it's part of the story where Uttara is inquiring from Maharaj Parikshit about what is the topmost destination. And we discussed the correlation between the first book where it's the topmost recipients of Krishna's mercy. They're connected. You've been with me. We explained that. And she wants to know what the highest place is. And he answers her question, the narrative about a Brahmin who is ignorant because he's religious in the sense that he's worshiping some deity, Kamaksha, but he's religious, but he has material kamastar hita jnana, less intelligent. If your goal is something temporary, those who are intelligent, they go for what's eternal. Because anything that's temporary is filled with duality. Because when you lose it, you'll feel pain, and when you have it, you feel fear. This is the nature of that. So he tells the story of this Brahmin, and somehow this deity appears in his dream and initiates him into this Vaishnava mantra of Madan Gopal. And we discussed that, how God can, when we need it, instill faith by meeting us, not on the corporal existence, which we not qualified to ascend to that level, but on the subtle plane. But he didn't have Sambandha Gyan. And without Sambandha Gyan, if you move in the right direction by just feeling without the guidance of knowledge, it takes longer. But the feeling will carry you because you won't be satisfied anyplace else. So you'll keep on moving here, 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 and you'll get to your goal. Rather, when you have Sambandha Gyan, proper knowledge. So that happens. He gets the mantra, doesn't know what he's doing, but he's becoming a little purified. But he keeps on getting confused. First, he met some karmis, not non-devotee karmis, but religious people that are just into fruitive activity. And it was impressive. It was very impressive. And he was attracted in one sense. Satkarma, Nipano, Vipro, Mantra, Tantra, Vishwa. He was attracted. But he wasn't satisfied. So he realized that this is not the proper objective. Just like someone who takes drugs as their faith, as their objective, as their goal, they find out it's not the goal. So they may search for something else. And that's with any material thing. It doesn't really satisfy one. And then he goes to Jnanis, that's the Upanishadic jnana, detachment, impersonal, monism. And it's very attractive. And he gets confused about what he do. Because in one sense, his understanding, which is not purified, is telling him, why not get liberation? If you follow these people, they're on the path of liberation. But he's attracted, so he doesn't know what to do, and he becomes depressed. And then somehow or other, the divine, and again, we don't know the karmic path someone's on. You can't really judge person, because what they're going through may be just one karmic reaction, but they have, it's very difficult. You can't understand the inconceivable will of the Lord. So he becomes depressed, and then the goddess, which was actually poverty, but in the form of many forms, Kamaksha, he was in a dilemma, and he said, if I take sannyas, but should I chant my mantra? This is why we need guidance, because we have a myriad of decisions. And dharma, this is my own definition, is the science of choosing the correct decision, whether it's attachment or detachment, which elevates the consciousness. So, but he's confused. And when you're confused, your determination, your faith is not weak, so you're not moving. So again, the third time, Kamakya brought her husband and made a presentation more convincing. Namurka kuru sanyasam drutam sri mataram vraja tatrādiṣṭaḥ vyashyam purnatas tvam pavishyati Lord Shiva said, foolish man, don't take sannyas. Na murka, do not murka, you foolish person. Kuru sannyasam, do not take sannyas. Drutam, immediately, simaturam, vraja, go. Tatra, there, Vrindavane, in that Vrindavan forest. Purna artha, your goal, your wealth, your desires. Purna artha, full, you'll fulfill them. You will, bhavishya, see, you will become completely fulfilled. Shokanta mataram gatum mahustam kirtayam tata satadesha disham gacham priyagam prapyavartmani. Eager to go to Mathura, the Brahmin set off towards that district, all the while chanting its glories. On the way, he came to Prayag. So he's on his way, and he comes to the kind of spot of the Kumbh Mela. He's on his way to Mathura, and that's the path from where he is in Varanasi, I think. And he's just chanting. He's eager. He's heard. This is where your desires will be fulfilled. We know how important a place is to us, just like I know so many of you had that experience of Govardhan, especially this year. And that becomes in your heart, that becomes your goal. Tasmil Lashan Madhavapada Padme Gangasri Tasri Jumanamanoge Snanaya Magoshasi Tirtaraje Praptan Sasadhum Sasato Dadarsha. There at the king of holy places, by the charming Jamuna within the Ganga, he found hundreds of saints who had gathered near the effulgent lotus feet of Lord Madhava to bathe at dawn, the month of Magh. And I told you I did that in the Kumbh Mela, I don't know, maybe 48 years ago. And it was amazing. Purport, Prayag is called the king of tirthas because there one discovers one's heart devotion for the personality of Godhead. At Prayag, the Ganga and Jamuna unite, and downstream from their confluence, the Jamuna is considered present on one side of the Ganga. This is the Jamuna within the Ganga. Ganga and Jamuna are not only physically united at Prayag, but they also share an intimate bond of love for Krishna and the Saraswati. Śivena, 3 rivers. That's the place where these rivers, the Jamuna, the Ganga, all at once. At the hotel, the MVT, somehow we were a 10-minute walk from Ananda Ashram, this incredible facility made by Krishna before he introduced the Swami had it for his program. So, I didn't go, I don't know, people went to the Ganga and thing. But in the hotel, they told me the swimming pool, which no one uses, is Ganga water. So I went in there and just locked the gate. It was just me, and I would bathe in the Ganga. And it was wonderful. Tesham Sada Gita Nati Stavadibi Shri Vishnu Pujotsavam Aikshatabhita Tanama Sankirtana Vajyanartanai Prem Nartanadhai Rudidascha Sobitam. On every side before him, he saw them conducting a great festival of worship for Sri Vishnu, with expressions of joyous devotion like constant singing, offering obeisances, and recitation of prayers. The loud congregational chanting of Lord's name, along with music, dancing, sobbing, playing to cry, was attractive. It was attractive from so many different perspectives. so many different perspectives attract, just from the sight of it, but more that these things are expressions, and therefore they're carrying devotion. And they're watching the worship of this Bindu Madhava deity, which is there at Prayag, and Lord Chaitanya saw it. Sabudho vismayam prapto vaishnavam prachatis matan he gayaka vandino re dandavat patino bhuvi. Innocent, ignorant, and amazed, he said to those Vaishnavas, quote, "Excuse me, you singers, you reciters of prayers, and you who are falling on the ground like rods." So he never seen it, he never heard it, and he didn't know what to think, and he was unaware of the etiquette. I'm kind of paraphrasing the purport, and he couldn't distinguish the Vaishnavas from ordinary stage performers, and he was so naive that he interrupted the kirtan, and he addressed them disrespectfully. He could only see their external behavior, but not their spiritual status. He didn't have the Jnana Chakshu, the eyes, so he couldn't connect those type of symptoms to love or devotion. He can only connect them to the modes of nature, which is why it's kind of difficult to understand prema bhakti, because it's an emotional state, and our experience, as I mentioned many, many times, our experience of emotions is that they're born of the material modes of nature. Bo bhadaka nartakare Rama Krishneti Vadana Rodika Ramyati Lakash Charu Mala Dharanara Bhavataikam Shinam Swasta Nakola Halam Arhata Vadate Dam Vidhadve Kim Varjayata Sadaram. My dear musicians, dear chanters and dancers, loudly crying out, Ram Krishna. You men adorned with beautiful tilak and attractive garlands, please calm down for a moment and stop making such a racket. What is this ceremony you're observing? Whom are you so reverently worshiping? So he mistook the Vaishnavas for ordinary musicians, dancers, but he kind of admired the tilak because it was very beautiful. Someone, a real Vaishnav, knows how to put on that tilak. And because he didn't know about Sankirtan, he judged it to be like noise. He assumed the people had meaningful work to do, and why were they neglecting their duties just for, they should be doing rituals and austerities. Or maybe he thought it was some unusual ritual, unusual worship, but Tatrudvo pahasanti sma kechit tam kechit abruvam re mudha tushnim tishteti ke pyachur dinavatsalam. Some of the Vaishnavas simply laughed at hearing this. Others told him, "You fool, just be quiet." Yet others, compassionate to fallen self, said to him something else. So some of them got really upset with him, but some that were more advanced, they tried to show him compassion, and they instructed him. So they said, the holy Vaishnavas said, Shri Vaishnava Uchu Aye Vipracha Janasi Nakinchid Paramudhadi Vishnu Bhaktan Punamaivam Sambodaya Najalpacha. The holy Vaishnavas said, "Hey, bewildered son of a Brahmin, don't you understand anything? Don't you ever address the Vaishnavas, the devotees of Vishnu, like that and speak to them such nonsense?" he never should have asked them to stop. He just, and this is the difficulty when you don't have sambandha gyan. When you don't have the right conceptions and right ideas, you too easily can commit offense. Bhagavantam ime Vishnum nityam vayam upasmahe guru grihita dikshaka yata mantram yata vidhi. Initiated by our gurus, we should always worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu with the mantras and methods they have given us. I'll read the purport here. What distinguished the Sankirtan devotees from the Pragyoshtapura Brahmin was they had accepted Vaishnava initiation from authorized acharyas and were practicing devotional service according to the instructions of their spiritual masters. Evamvrita swapriya nama krita jatan. This is what Ishvara Puri instructed Lord Chaitanya. In this way, without attachment, without any inhibition, you should chant the names of your beloved Lord. And because he lacked the mercy of pure devotee, his chanting of the Gopal mantra was bearing undeveloped results instead of mature fruit. Real spiritual knowledge eluded him. So he had some attraction, but he couldn't get the real fruit because he didn't have that understanding. So this is so important, why you have to have some shastric understanding. Not to be a scholar, but basic understanding. So you can avoid offense and move forward with faith and determination in your process. That's what the purpose of this class is. Srila Shringa Tanum Kechid Raghunatham Tatapare Eke Gopalam Ityevam Nanarupam Dvijotama. O best of the Brahmins, we are worshiping the Lord in various forms. Some of us worship him in the feature as Nrsimha, some as Lord Raghunath, and others as Sri Gopal. So various Vaishnavas initiate in different mantras, worship in different ways, but they're respectful of others. You know, in our car, we had talks about that, of different Vaishnavas have different conceptions of certain philosophical points. They emphasize different things, whatever. But if you want pure devotion, you can't commit offense. You can't. Jai Jagannath said, you use your theological conceptions as a cudgel to fight with others. Prabhupada said, he who loves God, his religion is perfect. What to speak of other devotees of Krishna? So that they can all be together. We should have this example. We shouldn't, I always make that point that substance is more important than allegiance. And when you have allegiance to a particular tradition, of course you feel it's superior. And I definitely have that conception. I don't think it's sentimental about the Siddhantic, the metaphysical conclusions of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. But I don't consider, just because I belong to something, I'm better than someone else whom I feel I have a higher philosophical conception. They may have more substance. This is what I learned when I was cloistered for so many years, and then I came out and was preaching, and I saw that. Sri Parikshit Uvacha Tato Sao Lajito Vipro Prichatsa Prashrayam Muda Kato Vasati Kirdriksa Kimvartam Datumishvara. Sri Parikshit said, hearing this made the Brahmin feel ashamed. With great humility, but with joy, he asked them, where does this Lord live? What is he like? What benefit is he able to grant? So the purport, the Lord the devotees called Vishnu is unknown to the Brahmin, who is curious whether he lived in a village, city, or somewhere else. What god, human, or animal did his form resemble? What special powers did he have? And what wealth could he give to his devotees? So he was humbled. And even if in humility you feel a little shame, the humility allows us to appreciate mercy more, it allows us to have more faith. So there's actually, it says, some joy in it too. With great humility, saprasayam, but muda, but with joy. With joy, just like, I think Hemalatharada is listening now. She had about 50 days in Braj and Govardhan every day around. And I'm leaving in 3 weeks. I'm feeling separation. What she's feeling, she's leaving tomorrow at 2 a.m. But somehow or other, that kind of separation, which seems to be pain, it's a reflection of devotion. So in that feeling, there's also great joy. The heart is open to devotion. Sri Vaishnava Uchu Sada Sabratavasati Bahischantas Chasaprabhu Kaschin Nasa Drushastena Katachin Vidyate Kvachit. The holy Vaishnava is said, he is the supreme master and he always lives everywhere, both within and without. No one anywhere compares to him in any respect. So this is describing that he's all powerful and omnipotent. So this is, he's saying that actually we're worshiping God, who is Sada Sarvatra Vasa. He lives everywhere, Bahi, outside and inside, and Kaschit na subject. No one is comparable to him. Katanchit in any respect. Purport, in the material world, all things are limited in time, space, and substance. A person in a particular body, for example, has only a certain lifespan. Before and after he is absent from that body. His bodily existence occupies but a small space within the universe. He may move from one place to another, but only within strict limits. And his identity is separate from that of other persons or things. Vishnu, however, is not an ordinary person, limited in these ways. These or other ways, he pervades all space and time, and all other individual people and things are also part of him. The answer to the question, where does he live? In reply to the question, what is he like? The Vaishnavas say that he is unique and incomparable. No one's beauty or other personal qualities are equal to him, neither within this material world nor outside of it. This is God. Beyond space and time, I repeated this many times, logically beyond logic, logically beyond space and time, which we cannot conceive, an inconceivable Lord. The only way you'll really understand God fully is if God chooses to reveal himself to you, which is why our abhideya, or means for realizing the absolute truth, is bhakti. And bhakti is devotion in the form of kirtan. Bhakti is best expressed, Okay, I'm going to have to stop here, and we'll have some time for questions, because it was kind of a long day. Jamuna Jaya, if you're there, you can share with us to get it going.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class. Thank you for the travel log. That was really wonderful to hear about that description of Indradyumna Swami's
I think
festival.
Jamuna
So
Jaya,
nice.
if you can get up there once, maybe I'll recommend you,
Oh,
just bust that place out, enjoy. I'm telling you, it's it's
yeah,
great.
it sounds like my kind of party. I really
It's unbelievable. 25 people waiting online for Gita cards and 2 people sitting there.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
okay, yeah,
I appreciated that last bit about first of all, how he made the mistake. It's like that's really can tell us something if we're not seeing with proper vision, we make the mistake of taking something spiritual for mundane and then but then when he's chastised, when you said with humility and joy, that really was so wonderful that he's humbled, but he's joyous about it because he's found his position.
yeah. Nice, thank you.
Yeah,
Jaya.
thanks, Raj.
Okay, hi, Bo. Gail,
Hare Krishna
where's
Maharaj. Boy,
what a daughter you have. What a daughter you have, my God.
aw.
She's
Well,
on fire. She is on fire. She's so blissful, my God.
yeah. Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. And she's serving her spiritual master. That's her favorite thing in life.
And
But,
who has a life like her?
huh?
Who has a life like her?
All right?
Who has a life like
No, I
her?
said right. I said right.
I
Right.
mean, she- she's always in these kirtan festivals, and now in Dhanurdhara Swami, I met him. It was really fun. You know, we talked to him a little bit, and he's going to Italy now instead of Poland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He said, he lived 15 years in France serving. He wanted to get out, but his GBC was too attached to him there. And then when he was on his own, he wound up in Poland. His son said, "Dad, what are you in Poland?" And then, so he finally was going to be in Italy. And your daughter speaks Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
really,
And she just went for the first time, last summer, and now she'll be
yeah,
going again. Her
yeah,
her father took her.
Gail, I heard about that trip.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Very surprising twist. But
that wonderful trip. Okay.
Maharaj, I have to tell you, synchronicity strikes again. So, you know, I can't tell you the last time my husband has heard your class. It's been a
Yeah,
really, really long time,
yeah,
probably over a year, right? Probably.
yeah.
And so just out of the blue, we just happen to be in the same space at the same time, and he hears your voice and he says, "Oh, is that my boyfriend?" That's what he usually says when he hears you. He said, "Oh, is that my boyfriend?" I said, "Yes." And then it just so happens that this is the class where Shameshri Prema gets honorable mention, and he said, "Oh," so it was so nice that the one time he comes and hears, you know, he hears my
One
brother's name
time he
come.
comes, I'm giving a class about his daughter.
Right. It's amazing. That's what I'm saying. The synchronicity.
And he credits her father. She told me for the support he gives her just to be happy in that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
she told me that
Totally.
how appreciative she is, and others were around, so that's
Uh-huh.
good.
Okay. Maharaj, too, another thing is that, he never hears your class without coming away with something, you know.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
today he just heard a phrase. I don't even know if he understands the context, but he just heard you say, about you're talking about Govardhan Hill, I think, and you were talking about the aroma of devotion. And he said, wow, he really has a way with words.
Uh, I can tell the story about that aroma with devotion. You know, in Govardhan, this incredible scholar just came to my class, and I was speaking, and he just sat there, and I was speaking on what was I? I was speaking on the story of Shivananda saying his dog, and the discussion was, how did he become liberated? By the association of Vaishnava, but how does that work? So afterwards, he was such a great scholar, such a great Vaishnava, and very humble. So he respected me because I'm older and I'm Prabhupada disciple. And he quoted the next to last verse in the CC, where it described the it described that concept. And he explained it, that the Vaishnava's devotion has a fragrance. So,
Mm.
Okay, this synchronicity, Gail, with your mystic power that you
Maharaj,
always, yeah.
is there time for just one quick question?
Here, go ahead.
Yeah, so we hear, right, that the mantra, that's all you need, that all you need is the mantra because it's Krishna. So with Gopal, um, you know, how come it wasn't all he needed?
Well, it was, but it obviously, if you chant it with purity and understanding, you're more focused on it, you receive more benefit from it. And you do the things that support it. So without the knowledge, it doesn't go as fast without the understanding.
And that's why I would say you do need it to be supplemented with knowledge, the mantra. You can't just chant and expect,
Well, you can, but it has to lead to that understanding too. Yeah, I mean, you'll commit offenses. It'll bring you to the point of actually meeting a guru or something like that. So it's enough, but anyway, you understand the point, I think. Yeah, you do need some help. Prabhupada always said the process of chanting and reading or chanting and hearing. Yeah. Okay, Gail, thanks.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much for the class. And it's so interesting that you're in Rishikesh and your impressions. Thank you very, very much. It's really fragrance of a real devotee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm in Delhi now. Okay, anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Garaj, it's Lal Govinda.
And Broja, thank you for class.
All right, well, I heard a nice program there in Jersey, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice.
A lot of kirtan,
It was beautiful.
Great, yeah, about 25 people.
Yeah, it was great. It was really nice.
It's visiting Govardhan, this devotion, the community is building and it's becoming more prominent in people's lives. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Okay. Anybody
Waiting for
else?
you to come back.
Don't curse me. That's my imitation of Bhavananda. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class.
Who is this?
Ishvari Sundri.
Oh, great. On our way to work. Haribo.
My way to work. Haribo.
We'll see you soon. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, it's Yvette. Thanks for class.
Yvette, great to see you.
You
I know
too.
you like to hear about the Vaishnavas in India.
Yes, it's good to hear that Kastuba was really well received there in Rishikesh.
Very well received. I mean,
Yeah.
every day he gave class from 9 to 11.
Wow. It's
So
great.
there's at least 30, 40 people there. And there's at least, it's moving different, but there's about 20, 25 people listening, And
Great.
he was in a real spiritual New York mood, sitting up there. I'm right if I'm right, I'm right if I'm wrong. That confidence is overwhelming. It's all right.
Yes.
Confidence. Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Say hello. Okay. We can head out now. Thank you all. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu.